Hello, and welcome to CheersToFearYT, where we take horror films and turn them into drinking games. We're your two hosts. I'm Alex.
And I'm Tucker. Today we will be making a drinking game for Halloween Resurrection, directed by Rick Rosenthal, the director of Halloween 2. The movie was also written by Larry Brand and Sean Hood.
In Halloween Resurrection, Laurie is placed in a psych ward after finding out Michael Myers is still alive. And what does Michael Myers have planned next, you might ask? That's right, reality TV. Busta Rhymes sets up an internet reality TV show in the Myers house where contestants are killed off one by one.
In the house, our main character, Sarah, gets advice from Vincent and Jules from Pulp Fiction. The weird thing is, we are not joking. This is actually the plot of Halloween Resurrection.
As we move forward into the video, we will be touching on to some spoilers for the movie. Therefore, if you prefer not to be spoiled, watch the movie first with our drinking rules, and come back when you're done. If you don't care about spoilers, or if you have already seen the movie, then let's continue.
To start things off, if somebody dies, take a swig from your drink. From our count, we counted 9 deaths in this movie.
The second of 2 rules we have for every horror movie drinking game is if somebody screams, cries, or yells, you take a sip from your drink. For this movie, we heard 23 instances where somebody was either screaming, crying, or yelling.
Turn it down!
We will now present all of the rules we have for each and every Halloween movie. This starts with if you hear somebody say Halloween or you see the word on screen, take a sip.
Hey Mikey! Happy fucking Halloween!
This installment of the Halloween franchise resulted in 5 sips.
Our fourth rule is the most dreaded rule for the Halloween franchise. If you see a pumpkin, you take a drink. Of course, we have the mercy rule in place here, which, just a quick reminder, means that a rule cannot be applied more than 5 times in a scene. With that disclaimer out of the way, we counted 33 pumpkins on screen.
If you see a slasher sin being committed on screen, you must take a sip, as that is our next rule. For this rule, we counted people committing slasher sins 5 times.
Next for rules, we have if Michael or Myers is said, you take a sip. The total sips for this rule equaled out to 21.
Are you afraid of me? Are you afraid to die, Michael?
Following up the last rule, if you see Michael Myers on screen, you must take a sip from your beverage. This rule had the same number as the last one, both of which giving out 21 sips.
The last rule we have for the Halloween franchise is that if you hear the theme song at any time, stop what you're doing and take a sip. This rule only gave us 8 sips.
Now let's move on to the rules that are for Halloween Resurrection. The first rule is that if somebody's 2 feet are not on the ground through methods such as falling, hanging, or being suspended by something, take a sip. This rule resulted in 13 drinks.
The last rule we have today is that if you see Busta Rhymes' company logo for Dangertainment, take a sip. The logo appeared just enough to justify making this rule and caused us to take 5 sips.
And that is all the rules for Halloween Resurrection. The total number of drinks for this movie by our count came to 143 sips, which is the equivalent of drinking over 4.5 standard 12-ounce cans. That number is based off of our 30 sip per can scale.
So I guess the main thing for drinking is there were a lot of rules that were mercied.
Yeah, like pumpkins and Michael Myers being said.
I think Michael Myers had fits of rage that he could not control.
They all happen quite frequently and also in the same scene sometimes. So
Yeah.
There was quite a few drinks that were very close together in this movie, which made for a difficult drinking game because of the pacing of the drinks.
Yeah. So talking points for this movie, we've got to move on. I know for the last movie, H2O, we said how there were a lot of good things with this movie. Kind of the opposite for this one. There were not a lot of great things with this movie.
Yeah. For different reasons than 4, 5, and 6, though.
Yeah.
It's bad for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
To start, Jamie Lee Curtis is in the movie for a total of 15 minutes, and she only says a total of 15 lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
So maybe if she was more involved, it would have ended up being better. Because honestly, the opening sequence to me was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, and it involves Laurie again. So clearly she's needed for a good Halloween movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, she was asked to come back to the movie, and the only condition that she gave the filmmakers was that she dies off early in the movie. So I'm sure they didn't want that to be the case, but they're like, okay, we're gonna take her in whatever way we can. And yeah, I mean, I get why she did that because the movie was kind of a shit concept, but I wish she didn't.
The reason she did want to get killed off is because the ending for H2O was so good in her opinion.
Yeah.
She thought it was a great way for the franchise to end, and then they made a sequel, and she's like, if you want me in, kill me.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Because the last one, she kills Michael Myers, and that should almost be the cherry on top of the cake. Is Laurie, the person you're rooting for all these years, kills the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I get that outlook from her. It makes sense.
Yeah. To be fair, she had the main intention of just like, kill me off, I'll take my paycheck and I'll get out.
Yeah.
That was her main intention.
Yeah,
she
exactly.
probably only had to stay for like 2 days of shooting and just left.
Yeah, if that.
I guess since we're talking about Laurie, we have to mention that there's no other Myers family member in there related in any way.
Yeah.
The only mention of John, the son, in the last movie is that there was a picture in Laurie's room in the psych ward, and that was it. We got no other mention of John whatsoever.
Well, I know, and yeah, like you said, no other family member mentioned. So it was kind of weird to see Michael Myers out and about, not searching for any of his family members because they're all dead, and that was kind of the motive in the other ones. So it was kind of out of place in a way.
Yeah, it just basically replaces, like it could have been another franchise on its own, like starting from 1 or 2, and then nothing to do with H2O whatsoever, pretty much.
Yeah. I guess the only argument to be made as to why he's after these people is they're in his house. And I guess you could make that argument and it would make sense. But I don't know, it was still weird not having any of his family involved. So another negative thing about the movie, I guess, is the nauseating cameras. The ones that they're wearing, like the body cams, I guess. I don't know. The ones that the characters are controlling. They use far too much of that footage, and it's just such a bad time when you're watching it there.
Yeah.
Like, somehow it's worse than the Blair Witch movie.
And I don't know how it can be much worse than the Blair Witch. The Blair Witch was made to look like that.
Yeah.
Where in comparison, this was made to be a feature film that wasn't found footage in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I just hated that part because it wasn't necessary at all.
Like, I don't know why they decided to use the actual shitty body cam footages.
Oh yeah, they could have just replicated it and made it actually, still camera rather than having that shakiness all over the place. It was unnecessary.
Like, I'm not a big fan of the Blair Witch Project, but I get why they had the cam footage just be such garbage quality, because it's supposed to add to the fact that it was, like, real in a sense, right?
Yeah, it adds that element. But they didn't need that element in this movie because they're not trying to portray real events, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. So then there's the characters, who honestly, all the characters were just so bland.
Yeah.
There's the one chick who was a major in English, history, I don't even remember. There was the one guy who she was hitting on, not hitting on, I don't know. All the characters were just so one-dimensional.
Yeah. I don't even know who the main character is from this movie. I mean, you could say Michael Myers, but like...
Yeah, I think the main character was Sarah, the girl who was getting advice from Jules from fucking...
Yeah, I guess.
And Vincent from Pulp Fiction. I don't know, man.
I guess so, but she didn't stick out compared to the
No,
other ones.
no, she didn't.
It seems like they're all just there for whatever reason. I don't know.
She almost had less of a backstory than other characters. Like, there was the one who was a cook. Okay. There was the one who was, I want to be famous. This is my big breakout role. I'm like, okay. And then she could scream. I don't know. There was something about her getting a scholarship. Don't know what her future ambitions were. I don't know. Super confusing. Didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the problem.
Yeah.
We didn't care about any of these characters. Except maybe Busta Rhymes. For all the wrong reasons, though. Like, it feels so out of place for a Halloween movie. I know I brought this up to you multiple times, but there's so many different scenes or dialogue that it just sounds straight out of a scary movie. Like the parody Scary Movie. It sounds like they were parodying the Halloween franchise. And it just, I don't know, I hated it so much.
So I know this is where we really differed about the movie, so I'm going to go into some things that I liked about the movie.
Yeah.
Starting with Busta Rhymes.
Yeah. To me, like I said, it felt so out of place, and it kind of was cringy to me.
Yeah.
Like, not in a good way. It wasn't cringy so bad that it was good type of thing, in my opinion. It had so many cheesy lines like trick or treat, motherfucker.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Like, that sounds like something Samuel Jackson would say in a movie. And if it was Samuel Jackson, it maybe would have been, it may have worked better for me. But Busta Rhymes is not an actor, and it felt like they were trying to make the movie seriously, But then they were throwing in lines like this, and then there's this scene where Michael Myers meets Busta Rhymes in costume as Michael Myers. So it's like Michael talking to Michael, and it makes me want to bang my head against the wall, because why is Busta Rhymes dressed up as Michael telling Michael Myers to fuck off and get out of here? And why does Michael Myers take that from him and just leave with his head down? He looks like a sad puppy walking away. I hate it.
Oh, I love how he just tells off Michael Myers without even knowing it. As you said, he's meant for like a scary movie type of role. And honestly, yeah, he is. That's what makes the movie so watchable. And to me anyways. Another thing that I kind of liked anyways, how Jules and Vincent were there. They were just kind of there to be kind of a large group of people just kind of watching, which made it feel like almost an interactive game for them.
Yeah.
Since they were like, oh, you should go this way so you don't die.
Yeah.
I also feel like it was super relatable for them to be at some huge rager party and everyone else to just kind of go fuck off into another room and just watch something else while everyone else is just playing like beer pong or whatever in the next room over. I feel like that's relatable, so that was neat. So overall, I know we have polarizing opinions, but I thought the film was horribly great,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Whereas I thought it was hot garbage, and I stand by it.
You think it was horribly horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hot mess, but occasionally in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a great movie, but for what it was worth, it was stupid but wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I will admit it could make for a good drinking game because you can make fun of it with friends.
Yeah.
I'll give it credit where credit is due. It would be a fun drinking game because of how ridiculous it is.
Definitely, yeah.
But as far as a Halloween movie goes, it's trash, and it's not what belongs in a Halloween franchise, in my eyes.
I completely agree. And finally, we come to the award ceremony, where we award one not-so-lucky nominee, the Darwin Award. This award goes out to a character that made a stupid decision that resulted in them getting killed, somebody else getting killed, or simply resulting in something bad happening that could have been easily avoided. This award can also be given to a character that is just plain dumb. Here are the nominees.
Today's first nominee is Lori, for attempting to take off Michael Myers' mask. Sure, she might be suffering from trauma, but it was pretty clear that this Michael Myers tried to kill you and the people around you. Plus, people have to stop dressing up as Michael Myers, and then maybe they will stop dying.
Speaking of which, the next nominee is the paramedic that did not try hard enough to take off the Michael Myers mask. He could have taken it off in the vehicle when Lori hijacks it, or tried harder when he is pinned between the car and the ground.
For the final nomination, we are doing something a bit different this time around, because this person was not in the movie. The third nomination goes to whoever checked for a pulse on Michael Myers and determined that he was dead, because clearly he was not.
And the winner is the paramedic. This is a little bit of a stretch, but honestly, if you are not going to be putting in more effort to taking off your mask so that Lori knows you are not Michael Myers, it's almost to be expected that you will die.
And with all that being said, we hope you enjoyed our drinking game and review on Halloween Resurrection. If you end up playing the game alongside the movie, or if you have any feedback or suggestions, let us know in the comments below. Also let us know in the comments if you dislike the movie or not.
Make sure to find us on Facebook, and more importantly, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episode where we are going to be making a drinking game for Rob Zombie's Halloween. If you want to check out our most recent video on Halloween H2O, click on the box on the top right. Or if you want to see a playlist of all the drinking games and horror movies we review, click on the box below it. Thanks for tuning in, and this is us saying cheers to fears.
I'll see you in hell.